Good evening. We're going to start with our junior high recipient for the month of March. Joelle, will you join me up here at the podium? This is what Joelle's nomination says. I have been so impressed by this student. Joelle is our 8th period office aide. This alone shows that she is a hard worker because she has to have academic privilege to be an aide for anyone. That means all grades must be a C+ or higher, and Joelle is an AB student, but she's much more than an academic privilege student. When working in the office, she routinely helps with the Spartan Pantry. Joelle also maintains the Spartan Standard Bulletin Board for me, making sure to display the most recent recipients. Joelle is dependable and mature beyond her 8th grade standing. She has a bright future at Springfield and beyond, and it has been my privilege to get to know her this year. And I wrote that. I nominated her. So you get a copy of what's posted in the school and a certificate. Can I give you a hug?
Sure.
Congratulations. Melissa McDaniel, will you come on up? Melissa is our high school recipient. And this is what Mrs. Gray has to say about her. Melissa's a standout 9th grader. She is hardworking, positive, and a role model to her peers. She always has a smile on her face, and she comes to class ready to learn. She exemplifies the Spartan standard on a daily basis. So, Melissa, I have what's posted in the school for you as well, as long as the certificate. So, congratulations.
So next, we're very lucky to have the Springfield High cheerleading squad here. They had made it down the States. Coach Bethany, I'm going to leave it up to you now.
Hello. Behind me is some of our high school cheerleading team members. I'm going to go ahead and list them or show you guys. So you just give a little wave when I say your name. So I have Ellen Gray, Sakaya Simpson, Ashley Pickett, Maddie Price, Ella Ingham, Madison Burt, Madison Hawksworth, Avery Skaggs, Sadie Jones, and Charlotte Starner. And they are a part of our state team that they went to states at in Columbus this year, and we've been very fortunate that we have had a great group of girls, and they've worked very hard this season. They took 2 routines down to Columbus, and we were able to place 4th with our game day competition, and then we also had a traditional routine that we took, and they placed 7th with that team as well. So awesome competition down in the States, and we're excited to get back to work, and we're actually having tryouts this week, so we're in the midst of that, getting ready to prepare for next season, so hopefully.
So quick question, how does cheerleading make it down the States?
So you have to go to a regional competition that they hold in January or February. They have a couple of different ones in the state, and so if you qualify at regionals, then you get the chance to go down to
That's
states.
awesome.
Yeah.
And to also note, Coach Bethany was nominated as Cheerleading Coach of the Year for that team. Great showing down in the States, and we are very proud of you guys, and love to watch your it's amazing, and I hope the tryouts, you guys get people just as excited as you are. So, does anybody have any questions for our wonderful team here?
No questions, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you, guys. I do have, thank you girls, now gotta get back to work, because I know Coach Bethany likes to work you guys. I do have one more recognition. There's the Rotary has something called a 4-way speech, and it starts off first as a school competition, and then it's a district competition, and then it's the big regional, or did I say that backwards? Regional competition, which goes all the way from Springfield all the way up to Lake Erie, Mentor, Huron, all those areas up there. And every year, somebody else gets to host this amazing competition. But this year, Springfield High School is going to be hosting it. So we will be having students from all over Northeast Ohio coming to our school on Saturday. We were lucky enough that Sam Jones, if you want to stand and wave, He is one of our contestants who will be participating in the four-way speech on Saturday. And his speech, I'll tell you, we had 7 people compete for it. 2 are making it down to the four-way speech. Sam's speech was heartwarming and to the heart, and I think you wrote it from the heart, if I'm not, and it was awesome. So I cannot wait till Saturday to hear. He was gonna do it, he needs a little bit more practice, so we're gonna get ready for Saturday, and I cannot wait to hear it on Saturday and see how you do with it. So congratulations, thank you.
Do you have anything else?
No, that's good right now.
Okay, at this time, we'll do board members informal. I'm going to start with, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I have a few things. First, Joelle Carter, even though she already left, I was lucky enough to actually coach her in volleyball and basketball, and Mrs. Warner hit it perfectly, dependable. She doesn't miss practice. She comes to practice always, and at that age, I mean, even the high school girls forget half the stuff they need, but she's always there. She's always willing to help other people too. It doesn't matter who it is, what age they are, she'll jump right in there. So when I saw her name, I was like, yeah, maybe she deserves that. The cheerleaders, I actually my daughter and I took 2 of her friends to one of the competitions, and we had never been to one. And I remember walking in, and Ella was like, are you ready? And I'm like, no. And it's a very sensory overload thing if you've never been to one. I say go to one, and you will never come out the same. It's nonstop. You're always going like this, waiting for them to, it's like watching ice skating. But it's very good. Many of them were probably caught on your Ring cameras over Easter, because they did do a fundraiser that they hid Easter eggs in people's yards. So 7th and 8th grade DC trip. I just want to give a shout out to Mrs. George. She put a lot of work and heart into making that trip a success. Last year, my daughter and a couple friends and a couple moms actually went to DC during spring break. She was our tour guide. So I know they got the best experience ever. And somehow she got the best weather in the entire world. We were pretty jealous. But I also want to thank everybody that stepped up to help chaperone. And then from what I've been told, the students were amazing and represented the Spartans
Yes.
in a very positive way. And last, I think, and maybe, this past Saturday, we had the reverse raffle. Shelly and I attended, and Dustin and his family, and it was amazing. I mean,
I got some data if you want.
yeah,
260 tickets were sold, which is the most
ever.
in 15 years of them doing this. There were actually 215 people in attendance, so which, if you could have seen the excitement, I mean, it was just, you talk about sensory overload, I mean, it was just a constant going. People were excited. They raised close to $17,000. Wow. Which is, again, truly amazing. And all the feedback we've been getting on it has been very positive. So everything about it, and I'm gonna tell you what, I mean, the boosters that worked on it, I mean, you guys did an amazing job. I mean, everything was run so smoothly, and it was just, it was, I can't wait till next year.
Yeah.
It was so much fun.
Tara Gardner, Gina Gasper, and Julie Frent are the 3 that give their heart. 2 of them actually missed their daughter's track meet that day so that we could get it set up. I was supposed to help, and they told me I need to be at the baseball field for my own kid, which means a lot to me. Shelley was the first superintendent to actually attend a reverse raffle. So for me, that's huge, and I thank you for coming. But I also want to, he left, I was going to call Mr. Skeggs out, who was, and his wife was like winning everything, so. But it was an amazing night.
It
and
was.
I'm sure Dustin had fun. He actually got to enjoy himself. He didn't have to work too much. We did put him to work for a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, but it was a great night, so I just want to thank everybody that came, and especially to Gina, Tara, and Julie
Yes.
for all their hard work, so. Okay, meeting adjourned, we can go now.
Well, just so you know. Wow. Miranda, just so you know, those were all my notes, so now I gotta read through my notes, so yeah, thank you.
Larry?
I would just like to say how proud I am of the district and the positive direction that we're headed. And this recognition of the students each meeting has added a lot. And I think it starts the meeting off in the right frame of mind. So I appreciate that very much, and it's great to see the great things that the kids are doing. Also, shout out to the leadership here in the administration, because a real effort is being put into including the community and stakeholders in all the big decisions that are being made. That's very much appreciated, because it cuts down on a lot of chatter that we don't need to hear.
And we're also working for next year to bring more students in from the other schools for recognition. So I think it's gonna domino into something where our meetings are gonna be a little bit longer, because the beginning parts are gonna be longer, which that's okay.
I'll tail in on what Miranda has said. If you haven't been to a girls softball game yet, you need to go. I watched one when they played, I believe, Streetsboro, and the balls were being hit off the bat at a regular pace. Saw 2 home runs that game. It was awesome. They're well on their way to having a good season. If you get a chance to get out to see the boys game. I was in school last week for pre-service, so it's not easy going back to school when you're older, but it's interesting. I will send you a legislative update. I was a little bit behind going back to school and getting that pre-service wrapped up, but look for my update, and then we'll share that again next month.
I was going to say we're behind because we're a little older. It takes us longer.
Well,
The kids out here would get boom, boom, boom.
I'm trying not to give up on that
Yeah.
just yet.
And I'm gonna piggyback on something that you said. For our softball, it has been really successful, and the Akron Beacon Journal says we are the number 7 team to watch. So so that is really good, so I can't wait to see where we go with that.
There's a big game tomorrow night at home against Field, 5 o'clock if you want to be there.
Jed Park, correct?
Jed Park.
I really don't have anything to tell in on Larry, what he said. Just my feelings also.
I wanted, Larry kind of captured everything, or most of what I was going to say, but I think we all think alike, and we are appreciative of the positive efforts that are being made and the positive responses. And I am so proud of the students and the work that they are doing, because regardless of sometimes they feel like, oh, no one really cares about us or notices us, they still keep going and know that we'll see them eventually. But thank you. The kids have left, so I can't speak to them directly, but I'm very proud of what we've been able to accomplish, or what has been, not we, what I'm seeing accomplished. Let's put it that way. Okay, anyone, Shelley?
No, I'm good.
Okay. It is recommended now that the board approve the minutes of the regular meeting held on March 21st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved, we're ready for
Buttons are
approval.
going slow, yeah.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mrs. Frola?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Ray? Yes.
And at this time, I'd ask that any citizens' comments on agenda items come forth, and your comments are welcomed at this time and are limited to 5 minutes, but we would appreciate any feedback. Okay, seeing none, then we'll go to payments of the bills. It is recommended that the board approve payment of bills for the month of March pending audit.
So moved.
Second.
It is moved in second that we accept the payment of the bills. Now a vote.
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Mrs. Frola,
Yes?
Mr. Ray, yes. Ms. Terry,
Yes.
Mr. Petrie,
Yes.
All right, a second, it is recommended that the board approve a resolution for payment of bills per Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.21.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved in second, Mr. Adams?
Mr. Ray, Yes.
Mr. Petrie? Yes.
Mrs. Frola,
Yes.
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Ms. Terry,
Yes.
Motion carried. Number 11, acceptance of financial reports. It is recommended that the board accept the financial reports from the treasurer for March 2023. And those exhibits have been provided to us.
I'll make a motion to.
I'll second.
Mr. Terry,
Yes.
Mr. Ray, Yes.
Mr. Petrie? Yes.
Mrs. Frola,
Yes?
Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Moving on to personnel items, we'll start with accepting the resignation of substitute bus driver Brenda Frame, effective March 21, 2023. 12.2, resignation, accept the resignation of bus driver Craig Fraley, effective April 23, 2023. Accept the resignation of teacher Regina Carson, effective March 20, 2023. Next item, 12.4, is on tenure. Approve the tenure for certified employee Shiloh Curas. I'm sorry.
That's
My
fine.
name was Cipollone. I can't stand mispronunciation.
You're fine.
Who was initially licensed after January 21, 2011, and she holds a professional license, has appropriate credit hours, has at least 3 years' experience in the district, and has held an educator license for at least 7 years, and is therefore recommended for a continuing contract effective for the 2023-24 school year, pending proper documentation to meet requirements. 12.5, reduction in force for certified staff. Approve a reduction of the following certified positions due to financial reasons effective 2023-24 school year. Literacy tutors, 2 full-time positions. 12.6, reduction in force, classified positions. Approve a reduction of the following classified positions due to financial reasons effective the 2023-24 school year. That would be 5 everyday reader positions. Those are hard to read.
Yes, they are.
They're
Yes, they
hard
are.
to read. Sorry. 12.7, limited contracts. Approve the following one-year limited contracts effective for the 2023 school year for Brittany Glasgow, Elena Jackson, Catherine McFeeters, Julie Rapaski, Monica Ruzick, and Shelby Van Guten. 12.8, employment. Reemploy Matthew O'Brien from the reduction in force list per the negotiated agreement with SLAC as a special education teacher effective for the 2023-24 school year. 12.9, employment. Reassign classified employee Robin Mitchell as a 4-hour standby bus monitor per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective March 20, 2023. 12.10, employment. Reassign classified employee Rachel Powell as a 4-hour bus monitor on Route 46 for the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure effective March 24, 2023. 12.11, Summer School Credit Recovery. Approve Steve Schaefer as an online summer school credit recovery for grades 9 through 12 instructor for summer 2023 at the approved rate of $28.25 from June 7, 2023 through July 23rd. This position is an online position with a maximum of 2 hours per day for 25 days for a maximum total hour of 50 hours. 12.11, non-sport supplemental contracts. Approve the following non-sport supplemental contract for the 2023 school year per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure. Alyssa Bentz, dramatics, 8%. Revised supplemental contracts. Approve the following athletic supplemental contracts for the 2023 school year per the negotiated agreement pending proper licensure. This would be A.J. Asola, varsity baseball assistant at 5%. He was previously approved as a volunteer coach. Todd Vargo, volunteer baseball coach, having been previously approved as a varsity assistant baseball coach at 5%.
Right, that was a lot.
It was a lot, yeah. Some
was
of it
a
was
lot.
hard.
That was a lot. So just a couple points I just want to bring out. 12.4 about the tenure. So teachers are granted tenure if they meet these certain requirements, and that's per the contract. Shiloh Huaz was on a limited contract, and when she was talking with Mary for some reason, Mary recognized that she had the credentials and what she needed to become tenured or to get a continuing contract. So we worked with her, and so she's on her way to being a continuing contract. She was very appreciative of that we were able to get her that. The 12.7, the majority of our teachers having continuing contract. Being that we have riffed tremendously and we have such an older staff, the majority of our teachers do have continuing contracts. Excuse me, but these 6 employees, they still have limited. So and when they meet the needs, then they will also move up to being continuing contracts.
That's a very small number.
That, for a district, that is an extremely small number.
Yeah.
That is an extremely small number. Usually most districts, it's pretty even. As the older teachers go out, the newer teachers come in, but we have a very high continuing contract, just because of the levy not passing. Matt O'Brien from 12.8, he is our last from the RIF list, so that's good. So everybody that was on the RIF list from last year either had a job somewhere else or they were called back. So we were excited to have Matt, and I've met with him and he's really excited. He's always wanted to be here in Springfield, so that is a when somebody comes in to see me and say that's exciting. Summer school, so credit recovery, this is for the kids who have not passed a course during the year. So they will take credit recovery through Apex, and Steve Schaefer will be working with them to make sure that they get online. He watches to make sure that they're continuing on what they're doing. If they have any trouble, they contact him, and then he will, once they pass it, he'll pass it on to Mrs. Warner. The non-supplemental with Alyssa Bentz, and Parker over here too. He's an amazing asset to the high school. So, Parker, we don't give you enough recognition, so thank you very much. But at the beginning of the year, some students came up to me and said they wanted to do a play. And no teacher had signed up for that supplemental to do a play. So they're struggling through it, but they're working through it. They're getting it. I watch them on tape. I have a camera on my computer, so they don't know I'm watching, but I watch while they're doing it. So Yeah, Big Brother is watching, so I do know. And they've really taken the bull by the horns. The kids are, it's going to be a kids' play. And Alyssa Benz was on dramas last year, and she came back to do it. And I mean, she's a young adult, and there's their ups and downs and strugglings, but they're looking at the costumes, they're making the sets. We're doing Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole, and I can't wait. It's gonna be in May. I'll get you the dates on that. So she's been working on it since January. The only reason why she's on it right now is my fault. I forgot to put it on the con. I forgot to put her on.
Yeah.
That was an oops on my part. And I think, I mean, that was a lot. That was a lot, so
It was, but
that's good. That's good.
in some ways it shows progress,
It does show progress,
and in other ways it's sad. Okay, do we have a,
Just
I'll second.
okay, it has been moved and second that all the personnel items be voted on.
Can I
Mr.
speak to
Adams?
an item on that?
Pardon?
I'd like to speak to an item on that.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. When we talked about this, when we had to, when we were talking of our financial recovery plan and the RIF of the reading teachers, that is something that's very dear to my heart. And I know we've had to cut a lot of folks in our district. I get that, I understand that, because of the levies that have went down. But I struggled in reading when I was a student. Some even to this day. So, even though we've approved it for the financial recovery, this is a very difficult vote, as they have been in the past. And I just want you to know that I understand what we're doing to this district when we're retracting, when we get smaller. The opportunities are fading for some of our kids. I was in that position when I was in grade school in Akron. So it hits home, it hits very close to home with me. Okay.
And as someone who has a master's in reading instruction, it's difficult for me because I know what this brings to have that kind of support. And I know what happens when the support isn't there. So I'm looking forward to the time that we can reinstate that because it's so
when we ever
important.
get to the point,
Okay,
please
Absolutely.
restore reading to where we can fully fund it.
And, you know, and what's also disheartening is that the state is putting more and more mandates on us for reading. And again, I'm gonna give kudos to Mary and her team. Our reading teachers, our classroom teachers are picking up the slack of what they need to be doing. And our title team is also, and they're working, I mean, the amount of hours that they put in for professional development with the dyslexia training, with the science of reading. We have programs called Wit and Wisdom coming up that the training is. We have letters training, and they're working hard. And it's unfortunate that we are taking away instead of building, especially for our youngest students. So I feel both, it's disheartening.
anyone else? Mr. Adams?
Ms. Terry,
Yes.
Mr. Petrie,
Yes?
Mr. Frola,
Sadly, yes.
Mr. Ray? Yes. Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Number 13, a service contract with the Summit ESC. It is recommended that the board approve the service plan contract with the Summit Educational Service Center for the 2023-24 school year. Do you want to say anything about that?
Sure, so this is something that we do every year. So Summit County ESC offers us services that we don't have to purchase ourselves. So some of the things that they do is we get our audiology from them. We get our behavior specialists from them. Our psychologists, we also get from the Summit County, as well as professional development for our teachers. So where our reading teachers are going out and getting the professional development they need from the things that I mentioned before, we are going to be using Summit County ESC for our math. So, because we still have, that's another thing. So we have, help me. Susan Huth is going to be working with, and she's worked with our teachers this year, and she's going to continue working with our teachers next year in math. And she was working with our 7th and 8th grade teachers. So that's where we get that from Summit County ESC. They are a true partner in education for us.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second that the board will vote on the approval of the service contract.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Ms. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Ray? Yes. Mrs. Frola?
Yes. Number 14, service contract with Summit ESC. It is recommended that the board approve a service contract with the Summit Educational Service Center to provide employment services during the 2023-24 school year at the cost of salary and benefits, plus any other costs incurred in the employment of the individuals upon written request for the district's superintendent or designee. Let's get a motion first.
Sure.
I'm so moved.
Second.
Okay, so this is also through the ESC, and what this is for specific employees. Tyler is somebody that we are blessed to have through Summit County ESC. He is truly amazing. I mean, the fact that we have him and James, and we're one-to-one, everybody's got computers, everybody's got technology, and Tyler is, thank you. That's all I can say, just thank you.
And he
As I-
can fix everything.
As I called him today and I says, I'm trying to get into something, I'm access denied, get here now. And he's right over there, and he's here tonight, and so we hire them through Summit County ESC. We also hire our educational interpreter and our EL tutor through them. And then that second part on that was, if we have to hire anybody else through the ESC, we don't have to go through the board, that's giving me permission just to go ahead and do it.
And for the benefit of those who might not, the EL tutor means,
English as a second language. Sorry, thank you.
That's okay, you're
You don't get
welcome.
that jargon, we get those.
yeah, I
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, Mr. Adams?
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
Mrs. Frola?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Ray? Yes. Ms. Terry?
Yes.
Motion passed. Transportation to other schools. It is recommended that the board adopt the following resolution. Be it resolved that it is deemed to be unreasonable, uneconomical, and/or impractical under present conditions to provide transportation on our buses to the following schools: Biomed Science Academy, that's the one in Kent, right?
No, this one in Rootstown.
Oh, in Rootstown, yeah. Cornerstone Community, Canton Central Catholic, Lake Central Center Christian, Archbishop Hoban, Sacred Heart, St. Joseph, St. Vincent, St. Mary, St. Michael, Cuyahoga Valley Christian Academy, Redeemer Christian School, and Weaver of Canton. It is further resolved that the parents of students attending said schools may qualify for an annual payment per child as prescribed by the law. State average per pupil expended for transportation during the past year is the amount prescribed. Parents may so qualify by waiving transportation, making application for a D contract, signing same, performing according to the terms thereof, and submitting an invoice at the conclusion of the school year. That's it.
I'll make a motion.
I will second that.
And that, of course, is in lieu of transportation is what it's called. And the state allows schools to, if it costs too much or there's not enough kids or whatever, to do the loan transportation. So that was very, very political jargon there, wasn't that?
Well, it's the official jargon.
Yes,
to
it is
do
the official jargon.
Mr. Adams?
Question.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
We transport to one school in the district, and then we transport to one school out of the district?
We transport to Super Learning Center, Summit County,
Yes,
the Academy on Maslin Road, Scope.
Scope. That's in district, though.
Those are both in district, and then we also transport to St. Francis, out of the district.
So that's the only school out of the district versus all the other ones. So is there any thought to discontinuing that because that's the only school that we're shipping outside of district?
We look at this every year and determine by the number of students going there and the time spent where our routes allow to do so. The state cost per student has more than doubled in the last year, so this is something we look at very closely as to what's economical and what's not. And next year we expect or are looking at changes for that as well as to what schools may benefit us to provide transportation for in lieu of the cost, because the cost has increased so much. It's getting to the point where it's, in some cases locally, it's becoming more beneficial for us to provide those services than to provide the payment in lieu of.
Okay. I'm just curious because that's the only one we transport out of district.
Mr. Adams?
Ms. Terry?
Yes.
Mr. Ray?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mrs. Frola?
Yes.
Mr. Petrie?
Yes.
All right, motion passed. The next item is resolution rejecting all proposals and bids on student transportation services. Resolved that the Board of Education, having determined to pursue a return to a district-owned and operated student transportation system, rejects all proposals received for student transportation services, both existing services and turnkey services, and authorizes and directs the business manager to provide written notice of said rejection to all interested responders or bidders. First, we'll have a motion.
I will make a motion.
Second.
Okay, Mrs., do you want to speak to
Mr.
that, or
Boswell's
Destin?
So back in February, we released 2 requests for proposals to contractors that service this area. One for existing services is the hybrid model that we currently utilize for transportation services, where the employees work for us, but the management company provides the fleet and management services there, as well as turnkey services where a contractor would provide all the services, including the employment of drivers, aides, and mechanics there. So we did so that we could review all of our options that were on the table as our contract with First Student expired June 30th. In order to review those, we convened a committee of 15 members, which included representatives from each of our employee unions, OPSI 530, which represents drivers, mechanics, and monitors, OPSI 179, which is the remaining support staff, SLAC, our teachers union, administration board members, and community members. We had volunteers from the community that volunteered to sit on this committee. We met 3 times over the last 7 weeks and reviewed hundreds of pages of documents, reviewed financial projections, discussed the ins and outs of each scenario, and ultimately the committee as a whole recommended that the best option for the district would be to return to an in-house transportation department, and brought that to the board for your review.
Any other comment?
I think this is great. We talked about it at great length last night, and then I reached out to a couple people that sat on the committee, got my own, is what they told me true, so, I'm that person. I think a couple people last night spoke up that it's been one of those things that has been out there that we build a bus garage, but we don't own our own buses. We don't do this, we don't do that. I'm not voting for this thing. Well, now we do. So, we get control and it's all, well, not me, but it's ours, so I think it's a positive, and hopefully we all work together to make it positive for everybody.
Mr. Adams?
Ms. Terry,
Yes.
Mr. Petrie,
Yes.
Mrs. Frola,
Yes.
Mr. Ray.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion passed. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to say this now, but I'm going to. I think this process that the committee just went through, and I got to be part of it, just a small part, because I was going to be out, not in the district for the third meeting, but I was impressed with the input that was given, with the discussions that were had, and I think this is another sign that good things are happening in the district, because there is dialogue going on and there's feedback. And the other thing that impressed me is some of the members of the committee the night I was there, they are part of the bus driving program. And while some of the decisions that could have had not a negative impact, but not been as supportive of them as possible, what I heard them say was, you know, we've got to do what's best for the district. And if it means I don't have this, or if it means that we don't have that, then, you know, if that's the way if that's best for the district. So, but I think this is a good decision.
I think so too, and just, we have some committee members that came, so thank you for, coming tonight and hearing hard work. Each meeting was over 2 hours. And kudos to Dustin. He did a lot of work in getting this ready. So, it was, and it was the best decision, and what we heard was for the district, but it was also the best decision for our kids.
Yes. Well,
And that is so important.
and that's what they were
And that's
You know,
so
let's do what's
important,
best for the kids.
So
Which
I'm thrilled.
I always believe in.
I'm thrilled to have it back in-house.
Thank you,
So,
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your.
Number 17, donations. It is recommended that the board accept the following donations. From Staples, 17.1, Staples donated approximately $350 of supplies to Springfield Local School District. 17.2, the OEA Educational Foundation. We are accepting a technology grant, which has been awarded to Andrea Novicki from the OEA Educational Foundation in the amount of $4,900 to purchase computers and virtual reality equipment.
So moved.
Second.
So, Staples, they just love us, I guess. They keep giving us stuff, which we will take wholeheartedly, happily. It helps our families and our kids. For the OEA Educational Foundation, so OEA, the Ohio Educators Association, gives a grant that teachers can apply for, and Andrea Novicki applied for it, and she was granted the $4,900. If you haven't had a chance to go to her classroom, please stop at the high school and go into her classroom. It is truly amazing. So,
But check with her first to see.
oh, yeah, check with her first. Yeah, just don't hop in.
But it is, it's.
Or check with Mrs. Warner, and then
Yeah.
let's go through the proper channels. That was like really bad on my part. Go with Mrs. Warner first and then go through it.
Well, they can't get in unless she buzzes.
This is true. You gotta go past the gatekeeper, so.
Okay,
Mrs. Frola,
yes?
Mr. Ray,
Yes.
Ms. Terry, Mr. Hofer,
Yes.
Mr. Petrie.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. All right. Do you have it up here? Can you see it?
Good evening, everybody.
I do want to talk about, before I get into this, Ms. Novicki, I think I do more grants for her in a year than just about anybody. It's just,
Yeah,
they
we've-
keep
we
coming, you
voted a
know,
lot on
and,
her. Yeah.
and I did visit her class and that virtual reality and what she does and her enthusiasm and dedication is, we're very fortunate to have her in this district. As it says up there, we are going to establish a finance committee for Springfield Local Schools. It's, as everyone knows, we have to address certain issues and we also have to educate. And more importantly, we have to listen to people's concerns. That's a big thing. So the initial meeting will be listening, gathering information. It cannot hurt this district to get as much information that is verified by the state auditor. So it's accurate, it's relevant, because this district needs to get as much factual information out to the voting public that we can. So the idea is, I put this out here with my email address. I would like anybody in the community, we do have people from the board. We can only have 2 board members at a time to attend this meeting. And I'm sure there'll be somebody from administration, but I would like your name and your email because we plan on getting this first meeting going in the next couple weeks. I could see it being an hour to 2 hours initially. We'll establish a secretary to take down the concerns or the issues that people may not know about, and we'll also have a learning session. So I can see these being in 2 parts. Let's go over some of the issues the community has, and let's go over some of the reports that I produce and the board sees all the time, and go from there. It's gonna be a very fluid committee. We've never, I don't know, before me, I don't think we've had a committee here in 20 years at the time. It's time, so.
Mr.
So I
Evans?
encourage union members, employees, but I do want committee, I mean, not committee, I do want residents. That's where I think the need is to educate and get their tough questions. That's the key. So thank you.
If I, for clarity, there isn't, this is open to anyone. They don't have to be a CPA or it's just interested in
Yes.
learning and voicing
Their concerns.
their concerns or their support.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Is that the complete treasurer's report then? Do you have anything else before I move on?
Next month, 5-year forecast, so there'll be some tweaking going on. We are, in some categories, we're beating budget, in some categories, we're not, but overall, we're still on track, and that's the key. But next month, and the 5-year forecast is always a report that gives treasurers a lot of, angst, because there's always something going on.
And we know with the 5-year forecast next month, depending what happens on May 2nd.
Correct.
Thank you, and thank you for initiating this process to establish a committee.
All right, you're welcome.
All right, central office report.
Here.
I don't know with whom we're starting, but
I will just take a quick moment to pass along my thanks to the Transportation Committee and the members that are here, as well as everybody else. I know it couldn't have been easy sitting and listening to me talk in a room for that long, so I appreciate everything and appreciate all the good discussion that was had and the feedback that we could learn about the wants and needs and of the community and how we can best serve our students there. For the board, before you leave tonight, I will give you a copy of a statement that we prepared anticipation that we will get out to the public tomorrow announcing this move there.
Thank you to the board who participated in the Ohio Military Family Spirit Week, which is what we're doing right now, which is why we're wearing red, white, and blue. This participation started on Monday. On Monday it was your favorite military branch to support them. Today it's Red, White, and Blue Day. Tomorrow it is statewide Purple Up Day. So if you have your purple, wear your purple. Thursday is called Digi Day or Camouflage Day. And then Friday is Red Day, which stands for Remember Everyone Deployed. This is important to us right now in Springfield because we were fortunate to just receive an announcement from the governor and from ODE. The Ohio Department of Education announced 165 Ohio schools to receive the Purple Star designation as members of the Purple Star class of 2023. Purple Star schools show a significant commitment to serving students and families connected to our nation's armed forces. 88 Ohio schools received the esteemed award for the very first time, while 77 earned a renewal after 3 years as a dedicated Purple Star school. Ohio is home to only 511 active Purple Star schools that dedicate time and supports to students in military families. All awardees meet the unique wellness academic needs of Ohio's military-connected youth. To qualify, schools choose a school-based staff person to serve as a liaison between military families and the school. These liaisons complete professional development, identify military-connected students, and facilitate school and community supports for identified students and their families. Purple Star schools also participate in at least one supportive activity each year. The Purple Star class of 2023 includes schools that host monthly military kids clubs, professional learning for all educators on unique considerations for serving military-connected students, and statewide celebrations honoring military students and families like we're doing right now. A Purple Star school receives the designation for 3 years, after which they have to reapply for renewal by doing the activities throughout the 3-year process. The announcement of the Purple Star class of 2023 is part of Ohio's participation in the national celebration of Month of the Military Child, which is April. Congratulations to Schropp Intermediate School, as it is now named a Purple Star designation school from the Ohio Department of Education. This adds on to our high school, which also has that designation. So congratulations to both schools.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And Mary, I'm gonna assume you're a liaison?
I am.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So ironically, since the EL tutor came up today as part of our service agreement with the ESC, I was planning to talk about our EL services. So this is a growing population in our community. We have a lot of students that come to us as English language learners, or ELL, as the acronym for education is. These students are sometimes students that cannot communicate fluently or learn effectively in English, and they often come from non-English speaking homes and backgrounds. They're identified at the beginning of the school year based on a screener that's required during the registration process. Those parents will check if English is their language in their home. And then if they check that another language is spoken in the home, then that prompts us to complete an assessment that has to be done every year. And then the students are assessed yearly through a state assessment called the OELPA, the Ohio English Language Proficiency Assessment. So our tutor works with our EL students across the whole district. Her name is Mrs. Tipton. She has worked really hard the last 2 years to build good relationships with the families of these students, because often these students have other obligations and school doesn't always become their first priority because they have to help with childcare or they have to go out into the workforce. But she makes it a priority to touch base with those families and to keep their kids engaged in our schools. And it's been really successful, and every year we get a few more kids, so it's important that we have her available to help those students each day.
Do you know how many kids we have?
I don't have an exact number today. We've had some come and go recently. I think we just had 2 students withdraw, but I think at the beginning of the school year we were sitting about 15 across the district. So
That's a lot.
Does she rotate among schools?
She does. Her home base is at the high school building, but she will go to Spring Hill and Schropp to work with the students on a scheduled basis.
And she does do an amazing job.
Yeah, she's great with them.
And, and it's not just kids who that you could tell that they don't speak English. There's a lot of kids out there that speak fluent English, but the understanding of English, like we had one child, when somebody says, I'm gonna make a frozen pizza, and his comment was, why would you eat a pizza frozen? Not understanding the innuendos of what that means, so she also helps a lot with that, so that's a lot, so thank you. For mine, well, we talked a lot about it and other things, so, we do have 32 days left of school, not that, the only reason why I know that is people tell me that all the time, so that's exciting. I am very proud of our 7th and 8th graders. I've heard nothing but positives and how polite they were, and it was one of the best groups that they've ever taken, and it was very hot, and I think the day that they did the most walking, when I was talking with Mr. Lovell, he says, he looked back on the bus and they're all just totally sleeping out until they got to the medieval day, so that was fun. Last Wednesday, one of our goals is to start to do more community events and getting the community into our schools. And one of something is called Parent University that is happening at Schropp. It's a partnership with Summit County Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health, the Summit County ADM, Red Oak Counseling, Mr. Jamanovich and Mrs. Franks for organizing this. And what it is they come in and each month they're going to do a topic to help parents understand. This last one was on vaping and e-cigarettes and the dangers for it. They're debating on what they want to do next month. We got one more month and they've got like 3 different ideas, so they're going to narrow it down. We will promote it, we will advertise it, so Schropp parents, right now it's just at Schropp, bringing in those families. And our parent group provided pizza and pop for them, pizza and drinks. So, getting the community into our schools. Another thing that we're going to be doing to get our schools is Thursday, on the 20th, we are doing a kindergarten roundup. And we've never really done this before, but we want to get our upcoming kindergartners into our schools. So this is going to be a chance for them to meet the Spring Hill staff. They're going to be able to get supplies and resources, things that they're going to need to get ready for kindergarten. We're going to work on this, so you guys are coming in with this. We're going to have the bus there so they can see what a bus is and how that big yellow thing that drives down. They're like, oh, I get to go on that. There's going to be face painting. There's going to be Sparty, the Spartan mascot. Couldn't read that. That was okay. There's going to be popcorn and snacks courtesy of the parent group. We're going to have computers signed up for people who might not have internet access at home so they can start registering for kindergarten. We're going to have the library there. We're going to have our resource officer there. They're going to talk about Safety Town. So it's just going to be a group just to come on in and see our school. And that's going to be Thursday from 5 to 6:30. So this is going to be our first annual kindergarten roundup. So we're excited for that. Thank you. Another thing, so this Sunday in the Leader, you saw our Spartan Telegram. And at the bottom of our Spartan Telegram, there was something about our electronic newsletter. We are going to start doing an electronic newsletter monthly. And it's going to automatically go to staff and to parents. But anybody in the community can sign up for the monthly newsletter. There was a QR code at the bottom of the Spartan Telegram, and then in our website, on top there's a link. So anybody in the community, please sign up. You'll get to see what's going on monthly in our schools to get that out there to see. And any announcements that we want to make will be in that. And today I just got a email. We got the Purple Star email, but I also got another email that Andrea Novicki was nominated for Ohio Teacher of the Year.
Awesome.
So it's a long process to get through, so I will keep you updated on that, but we are very proud of her. She was nominated, I do believe, Mrs. Warner nominated her, and she was chosen to be a a nomination for Ohio's Teacher, and that's a great, great, great honor. So, even being nominated is just a huge, for that. So, she'll get a certificate, and on that, and we'll help her through the process and see where we go with that. So, a lot of, you know what, this was a good week. A lot of good things happening this week, so I'm very proud of, where we're at and where we're going, and I'm just proud of my team, the staff, the students. It's a great place, and people don't realize what a great place. This is a hidden gem.
I heard you were a chemistry student on Friday.
Yeah, I saw pictures of that.
Did you see that? Oh, through the Chem Day? Okay, so this was another, okay. Another activity that, you know, I love the fact that, you know, through Mrs. Warner's, tutelage, that teachers are taking chances and they're going outside their comfort areas and they're trying things. You know, one of the things that, I like to emphasize is let's take risks. Let's, you know what, let's think outside the box. If it doesn't work, we say oops, and we move on. So, Mr. Fleming took his 7th grade class to Mrs. Hannah's class, and they did labs. And I mean, there was acid and fire involved. So just so you know, I mean, it was not let's you know.
Well, volcano with.
Yeah, I mean, they're going, we're gonna go put acid in this. I'm like, what kind of acid are we playing with here? But they did two experiments. One was looking at pennies with just copper and pennies with copper and zinc, and the kids filed it. They threw it in some acid, and then whatever happened with the pennies, I don't know. But one of them got real soft and like
You don't like
paper.
chemistry.
And the other one still stayed hard. And then the other one, which I thought was really cool too, was when you take different chemicals and you put them over fire, the flame changes color.
That's true.
Yes, so there was red flame and blue flame and purple flame and orange flame. And if you could have seen the interaction between the upperclassmen and the 7th graders working together, every child was engaged, every child was following the directions, and I think they walked away with something. And it worked out really well because it was during the Washington DC trip, so the groups were smaller because they're like, this is gonna be something that they're gonna do every year. So thank you for, you know, letting them think outside the box and do that, and thank you to Mr. Fleming and Mrs. Hannah for taking those chances, and you saw the pictures and they were pretty cool.
And they also had their safety gear on too.
Oh, and, well, I'll tell you, Mrs. Hannah was when she was at the front, you put your hair back, take out the gum, take off any jewelry, put your glasses on. I mean, it was done. And the 11th, in the upperclassmen, they were 11th graders. Yes. The 11th graders were very making sure that the 7th graders were following the rules. But the 7th graders got their hands right in.
This is something that came out of PLC time.
That's awesome.
Since those teachers are working together by department every Tuesday, they can collaborate and come up with unique learning experiences like that.
And that's, you know, and that's what we want. We want the learning to be authentic. We want it to be real. We want it to be hands-on. And when we talk about our portrait of a journey of a Springfield Spartan, this embodied everything of that, the collaboration, the communication, the adaptability. So it just emphasized everything. So thank you. Thank you for bringing it up.
It's just one of the benefits that we have, having that one building
Yeah.
of, 5 different grades and stuff, being able to,
And you know,
instead of taking a field trip and everything, just walk down the hall.
that's it. And you know what? And hopefully other teachers will see more of this and they will start to interact and start bringing this together. So thank you. And your PLC time, again, great job with that, getting the teachers to collaborate and talk. So thank you. I'm done.
You did?
I'm done.
That was good, though, if I could listen to that. Okay, items worthy of your note. On April 20th, the kindergarten roundup, as has been announced, from 5 to 6:30 at Spring Hill Elementary. May 16th, the next regular Board of Education meeting at 6 o'clock here in the Administration Center. On May 29th is Memorial Day, no school. June 2nd, students' last day.
Yeah.
I remember that. On June 2nd, that's the end of 4th quarter, 2nd semester. And June 2nd also is graduation at E.J. Thomas Performing Arts Center. Any other announcements for?
So I'm getting a list from all the schools of all their last day activities. I had them email it to me, so I'm gonna compile a list and send it out. So if there's anything that, that you might wanna go visit or see, it'll be there.
Thank you. All right, citizens' comments. Participation is limited to 5 minutes of duration, but are there any citizens who have comments? Okay. Then, with seeing no citizens' comments, then it is recommended that the meeting be adjourned at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second that we vote on adjournment. Mr. Adams?
Ms. Terry?
Yes.
Petrie? Yes. Mrs. Frola?
Yes.
Mr. Hofer?
Yes.
Mr. Ray? Yes.
The meeting adjourned.
Good meeting,
Mrs.
guys.
Warner?